and welcome to Awesome Bundesliga. We have the 26th match day with us. Bayern Munich 4 points ahead of Leipzig. So let's analyze every single game with Radek Vegas. And I also want to know your opinion. So let me know what you think in the comment section. And you will have the chance to win a £10 free bet with Novibet. And do not forget to click on the like button if you enjoy the video, subscribe to our channel and click on the bell to get all the notifications. And now let's go on with the show. New Bundesliga match day before the international break. Hello, Radek. How are you?
Hey, Eduardo. Let's go. Match day 26 in the Bundesliga. We saw a lot of interesting games last game day. I think I wasn't right in any of these games, and so I'm looking forward to this one to make it better with you.
But you always say bet on the underdogs. The money is there, and if someone picked the underdogs for sure in the previous match day, they could have made a lot of money because there were a lot of surprises. Starting, for instance, from the first thing we are going to analyze on Friday, Arminia Bielefeld. Leipzig is the game on Friday, and Arminia Bielefeld beat Leverkusen away 1-2. After 7 winless game, was difficult to see this coming, even if Leverkusen was in a dry patch. Bielefeld now out of the relegation zone, finally out of the bottom 3. Leipzig, they drew against Eintracht, so the difference with Bayern Munich is now 4 points after saying goodbye to the champions. Here, if someone fancies Bielefeld again, odds 10.28.
Good week for Bielefeld. No one expected them to win against Leverkusen, and it was a clear win because the 1-2 of Leverkusen was very late, and Bielefeld was leading 2-0 a long time in the game, and so no really danger for them not winning. And on the other hand, Leipzig had a bad week, losing against Liverpool in the Champions League, not advancing in the quarterfinals, now losing points against Frankfurt, where they only had a 1-1, where a lot of people expected them to win. Not me, I said it's a clear draw, so my draws still are good. But in this case, of course, Leipzig is the huge favorite. Nothing to win here. I won't say Bielefeld is a danger for Leipzig, because Leipzig is another class than Leverkusen. And what I always do is look at the line at the Asian handicaps, because where do you get odds of 2.0 more or less on both teams? That is if you bet on minus 1.5 Asian handicap on Leipzig or plus 1.5 on Bielefeld. What is more likely, Bielefeld to keep it close within 1 goal, or Leipzig to win with 2 goals or more? I think Leipzig is, even though Bielefeld won against Leverkusen, Leipzig is way better. And this would be my option to bet on the clear favorite here with Asian handicap minus 1.5. Underrating Bielefeld for sure, but I think Leipzig has to strike back, and they have the quality to do that against Bielefeld.
We have then a bet for this first game. The last 3 away games for Leipzig, all 3. 0-3 was the victory, so if we bet on Asian handicap in those games, we would have won. Then Saturday, Bayern Munich, Stuttgart. Bayern, they are playing Champions League, but everything is done in the middle of the week. Even Flick could rotate some players if he thinks that the game in the Bundesliga is more important against Stuttgart. The odds for Bayern Munich, as we are used to, are very low, 1.26, and they won very comfortably against Werder Bremen in the weekend. And Stuttgart, they are actually in a good run. They beat Hoffenheim, no defeats in the last 5 games with 3 victories and 2 draws. And they are a good team on the road, but of course, Allianz Arena is always too much.
Yeah, and I think Flick will rotate not only in the Bundesliga, also in the Champions League. So I think they're now in a situation where they collect their power to be ready in the end of the season, because they can make some tactics. Their bench players are also good enough to be first in the standings, or even the bench players of Bayern Munich are better than the best players of any other teams. So I think it's a good thing that they play heavy rotation in games where they are not 100% in need to win, because you said it, they have 4 points advanced of Leipzig. They are almost sure in the next round of the Champions League against Lazio Rome, and we're shooting this video before knowing what's happening in this game. And for sure against Stuttgart, the odds on Bayern Munich are terrible, unattractive with 1.25 or something like that. We might consider that Stuttgart keeps on going and having a good run on away pitches where they are one of the best teams in the league. And that makes me think it could be a close game, because I think Bayern is not playing 100% in their strength, and Stuttgart might be there right now and not losing with more than 1 goal. And that's why Asian Handicap +2 on Stuttgart gives us odds of 2.0. And I think it's worth to give it a try, because in 50% of the games, I think Stuttgart should keep this game close.
Okay, next one is very interesting. Eintracht Frankfurt, Union Berlin. Eintracht, they are 4th still in Champions League positions, but Borussia Dortmund is only 2 points away. Eintracht, they drew against Leipzig, which is a good result. They also got a draw against Stuttgart, but they haven't won a game since they beat Bayern Munich. You always say that the curse of beating Bayern Munich against any team. And Union Berlin, they are back in track. They beat Cologne. Kruse scored again. Last 5 games, 2 victories, 3 draws. So getting closer to European positions. Heavy favorite here. Eintracht odds 1.83.
Yeah, that is a good point, because since Kruse is back in the team of Union Berlin, they get back to the or closer to the European spots. While he was injured or not 100% fit, Union Berlin was going down. Maybe this is also a coincidence, because they had the schedule to face stronger opponents without Kruse. But in this case, we will see. I think it's kind of a game where both teams are balanced, because as you said, Union Berlin is getting stronger. Eintracht, we don't know how strong they really are, because beating Bayern Munich is one thing, collecting points against weaker teams is another thing, but they lost against Werder Bremen, for example. Collecting 1 point against Leipzig is the other thing, which is good. Now, I think against a team like Union Berlin, who is really hard to play and beat, it's not a sure thing that Frankfurt is this kind of favorite. I would say the odds should be almost equal on both sides, and the most likely thing here for me is a draw. You get odds of 4.0 on a draw in this game, and I would take that with just 1/4 of a unit, and then we win 1 unit if we have a draw, and only lose a bit spare money if it's no draw, and maybe Frankfurt wins this home game.
All right, then draw. Next one, Cologne, Borussia Dortmund. This is the kind of game, I think, that we've seen in the Bundesliga many times this season, where the underdog collects points, especially against Borussia Dortmund. I think that is not really easy to rely on this season. They beat Hertha in the last game after qualifying for the quarterfinals of the Champions League. They are actually in a good run in the last 4 games, 3 victories, 1 defeat, and it was against Bayern Munich. Dortmund and Cologne is the opposite, only 1 point away from relegation, lost with Union Berlin. The odds are very, very low here for Dortmund, rather 1.58. I don't know if it's a good option to rely on a surprise for the underdog.
Not in this case, because Dortmund is getting stronger. Beating Hertha BSC 2-0 is really a good result. And besides the game against Bayern Munich, Dortmund was really good in every game, scoring a lot of goals with Erling Haaland. And on the other hand, we have Cologne, who is really struggling in these days. But as you might know, Cologne won their first game against Dortmund in this season with 2-1. And this was an amazing surprise in the winter games last year. And so yeah, it's maybe dangerous, but I think I expected odds on Dortmund of 1.2 or 1.3 because we have here a clear difference as we have in Bielefeld versus Leipzig. Most of the times I'm aware of the underdogs, as you said at the beginning, but in this case I think it's more likely that Borussia Dortmund keeps on going and winning games as they have to, because you also said it, they have to keep up to Eintracht Frankfurt, which is struggling at the moment, and Dortmund is in a run, and so I think it's a win for Dortmund. We keep that in our maybe accumulator for later, and I also would make a single bet on Dortmund -1. Means we get odds of 1.85 if Dortmund is winning with 2 goals. And if they only win with 1 goal, you get your money back. If there is a surprise again, which I doubt, so we lose this bet, but the odds of 1.85 is good enough for Dortmund here.
Dortmund wanted to qualify for the next Champions League edition. Wolfsburg is now on these top 4 positions. Wolfsburg third in the standings. They thrashed 5-0 Schalke in the last game, and now they travel to Bremen to face Werder Bremen. I think that lost against Bayern Munich, and after their victory against Bielefeld, I think that they struggle a little bit at home. Only 3 victories this season. So heavy favorite here, Wolfsburg, odds 2.05.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing. If you only look at the last 7 or 8 games since 2021, you might be surprised that Werder Bremen is one of the top 5 or top 6 teams in the league. So they had a good schedule against lower class teams in the standings, but they did the best out of it and collected a lot of points. And on the other hand, Wolfsburg is doing a great job the whole season, and this could be the point. If you only watch at the standings and the last results, I really like the odds on Wolfsburg, because odds around 2.0 on a team who's almost never losing is a good thing. On the other hand, because of Bremen was very good within the last 8 games, they collected points and made no bad appearance against Bayern Munich. Maybe good for them not make a point or winning because of the Bayern Munich curse, and that's why they have a chance against Wolfsburg here for sure. So I'm not 100% sure to bet on Wolfsburg, but only because Bremen had a run before the Bayern Munich game. And never forget, they also won against Frankfurt at home, 2-1 at the last home game. And Frankfurt and Wolfsburg are almost the same in kind of quality. And that's why, it's not a sure win for Wolfsburg, and that's why I don't bet here. But I'm really, if the odds on Wolfsburg will rise on 2.1 or around, I would bet on it. With under 2, it's no value for me, I think.
Okay, Okay, then we pencil the victory for Wolfsburg, but we will check the odds on oddspedia.com before the kickoff on Saturday. The last game on Saturday, Schalke, Gladbach. Gladbach, they are really terrible, really bad in the last few weeks. They have to play against Man City, so probably they will get thrashed even in the Champions League. They lost against Augsburg in the weekend. Now 6 straight defeats for them in all competitions. They are saying goodbye to Europe for next season. But always going to Gelsenkirchen, no, is a good option for them to win, because Schalke, we know how they are this season. Odds for Gladbach only 1.55 actually.
Yeah, that is a shame. I hoped that the bookmakers consider that Gladbach didn't win 8 games in a row and give them odds around 2.0 or something like that, which would be fair, I think. In this case, they have 1.5, which is really bad, no matter what you think, because for sure this is a must-win for Gladbach, and maybe a kind of the surest win on this game day. We have we have 3 games now, whereas top of the standings against bottom of the standings with Bielefeld, Leipzig, Cologne, Dortmund, and Schalke, Gladbach. And in all of them, you have really bad odds on the favorites with 1.5 around. And no matter how bad the opponent is, it's always dangerous in the Bundesliga, as we saw Leverkusen recently struggling against Bielefeld maybe. And in this game, it's also hard. If you ask me, I would say for sure it's a clear win for Gladbach. But with this odds, I'm not that confident like I am in the games with Dortmund and Leipzig, because Leipzig and Dortmund are on a good streak. Or are really good teams and have almost the same odds, and Gladbach is really bad at the moment, so it's it's not that good to bet on them. So and no considering any bet on Schalke for sure. It's always not an option to bet on Schalke.
Yeah, the run in the last 5 games for Schalke, they got 2 points. Gladbach got 0, at least in the Bundesliga.
It's proving.
Okay, no bet here on Sunday. Hoffenheim, Mainz. Here, Hoffenheim really favorite, 1.92. So the odds are not that bad, considering that they are not bad in their last 4 Bundesliga home games. 3 victories, 1 defeat for Hoffenheim, even if they lost against Stuttgart, but they were able to beat Wolfsburg recently at home. And Mainz is a team that we all thought, I think, they were gonna get relegated, but they are doing great. They beat Freiburg in the last weekend, last 6 Bundesliga games, 3 victories, 2 draws, and 1 defeat. That's why they are only 1 point away from salvation. Radek, for you is good enough, these odds for Hoffenheim, 1.92?
Yeah, unfortunately not, because same thing like Werder Bremen. If you only look at the last 7-8 games, the recent form of the teams, we see Mainz is, I think, number 6 in the standings in the last 8 games. So they are really good in form under their new coach, Bo Svensson. They made a big improvement and step forward. So the position of Mainz is not right, because if you look at the standings with the teams in the bottom of the standings, you have Schalke, who is almost in the second league. We have Cologne, who is really struggling. We have Hertha, who has a great team, but is not collecting any points. We have Bielefeld, who should be relegated, but now suddenly starts beating teams like Leverkusen. And we have Mainz, who is for sure the best team in the bottom, because of the last games and because of their team quality. And that's why in this game, Hoffenheim for sure is not the favorite, because we have always ups and downs of Hoffenheim. They are like a diva. If everything is perfect, the green is the pitch is green, the sun is shining. Hoffenheim is playing amazing football from time to time. And if there is anything disturbing them, maybe a team like Mainz, who's hard in playing, who can score also maybe the first goal. Hoffenheim is getting into real trouble, and their goalkeeper is also a kind of two-faced. He's one of the best keepers in Germany on one day, on the other day he throws the balls into his own net, and that's why Hoffenheim is one team in the league you can't trust, and I won't bet on them because of everything I said. Mainz is in really brilliant form, and I hope them to be in the league the 12th year in a row, because they're playing against relegation every year, and they made it 11 times not going down. And I think as they played in the last weeks, they won't go down, and that's why they will keep at least 1 point. We can maybe bet on double chance Mainz here, that Mainz is not losing the game. Or what I like most, like in most cases, is a draw of 4.0 in odds.
Mainz double chance 1.99, actually around 2. The other option you mentioned, then Hertha Leverkusen. Hertha are now in playoff positions to go to the Bundesliga 2. They lost against Dortmund after they got their first victory with Dardai as a coach, where they beat Augsburg. But the thing is that they are still losing a lot of games. This game is important because we know how Leverkusen is struggling, losing even against Bielefeld. Only one victory in the last 7 games for Leverkusen, and the odds for Hertha, if we want to trust them, are quite appealing, 3.83.
It's kind of obvious that Leverkusen only can streaks, and I think their coach Peter Bosz only can streaks. I mean, if he's new to a club, he's doing a great job and motivating the players and having success after success, winning. And on some point, when they are at the top, maybe we saw the same thing several years ago in Dortmund, where Peter Bosz was coach. He also won the first 10 games, I think, and suddenly everything turned around and they lost. Only lost. And we see this kind of the same thing in Leverkusen, which was on position 1, I think, sometime in the standings in the season, and they went down, and now they have problems, maybe even to qualify to the international spots, and that's a really big problem. Maybe they changed their coach within the last 8 game days, and I think this is the last chance for Bosz after losing against Bielefeld. If he also is not winning against another team from the bottom like Hertha, he's really in trouble. And for sure, Leverkusen has to win, has to point here. But as I often said, Hertha is better than their position, as Mainz is also. That's why I think Bielefeld or Cologne are the most likely teams to be relegated. And Hertha can at least keep 1 point at home against this weak Leverkusen. Betting on a draw is an option. Betting on double chance Hertha also, but this is highly speculative because Hertha also has their own problems and would only be a bet against Leverkusen. They also have a lot of personal problems with injuries, and obviously with the defense getting a lot of goals against weak teams like Bielefeld, and double chance on Hertha with 1.77 is a good thing here.
Then let's go double chance. Leverkusen out of Europe also, out of the Europa League. And there was a game against Bayern Munich where they lost in the last minute. That was the turning point, actually, to keep losing when they were fighting, as you said, for the top spot in the Bundesliga. Then the last game of this match day. This is less interesting for the table, for sure. Freiburg, Augsburg, two teams that are in the middle of the table. And I think they are happy being there because they are far from being relegated. Freiburg, they lost with Mainz in the last game, only one victory in their last 5 games, 9 right now in the standings. And Augsburg, they arrived way better after beating Gladbach in the last 4 Bundesliga games, 2 victories, 1 draw and 1 lost. So Augsburg arrived better to this game, and the odds are way better for Augsburg.
Yeah, and that's a very interesting game for betting on value bets, because as you said, everything Freiburg lost against Mainz. They only won 1 out of 5 in the last 5 games. On the other hand, we have Augsburg, who recently beat a Champions League contender like Gladbach. So you might expect odds around being equal, or maybe even Augsburg being favorite, but they are not. And that's why we have the value on the side of the guests here, knowing that Freiburg is good at home for sure. That's why 2 options. You can bet on double chance Augsburg, which gives us, I think, not that good odds of 1.9. It's okay. It's maybe interesting for accumulator, double chance Augsburg. But what I like most here for sure is a draw on 3.75. And that's interesting because we have, again, some games where I expect the probability of draws higher than the odds of the bookies or other thing around, and that's why we find in some games value in draws, and in this case, we do it as well.
Then let's go here for the draw. You mentioned we've covered all 9 games. You've mentioned some games, some options that you can keep for your ACCA. So
yeah, in this time, really against my personal strategy, against the underdogs, means lame favorite accumulator on Leipzig and Dortmund, and maybe also think about Augsburg in Freiburg. But if you only want a double bet with 2 almost good bets, I would combine Leipzig and Dortmund. You get odds around 2.0. You double your money without risking too much. On the other hand, looking for big odds, we have interesting draws on Frankfurt versus Union Berlin. Maybe Hertha versus Leverkusen and Freiburg versus Augsburg. All the other games, we said it, there's really hard to find value in these other games, but we don't have to bet on every game. We are in a good situation only to pick out 1 or 2 good bets and not losing too much money in betting too much, and that's the strategy I prefer.
Then 2 options for the ACCA, the conservative one, Leipzig and Dortmund to win, the risky one, 3 draws, Frankfurt, Hertha and Freiburg. Thank you, Radek, as usual, for enlightening us in these Bundesliga games every week. We have now all the tools to place our bets in the Bundesliga. Let me know what you think about Radek's tips in the comment section. You will have the chance to win a £10 free bet with Novibet. And remember, if you enjoy the video, press the like button, subscribe to our channel, and click on the bell to get all the notifications. Also, you can listen to all our videos in our podcast. See you very soon with more odds on Bundesliga.